Hello. A little bit after 12, so we'll call meeting to order. Yeah, for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Been advised we have a quorum, so we are properly constituted. The first item is approval of the agenda, and we'll entertain a motion to do so.
Make the motion.
Motion second. Mayor. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The next item we have is the minutes. One note on those are slight change from what was sent out. Lisa Wilson-Plager was not part as in attendance. She was at the last meeting. So I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes with capital. Second. Any questions or additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, next, I would like to exercise some of the vast powers of chairmanship and move the agenda around a little bit. We have a couple of people here for the Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky. As a reminder, we do the May board meeting. There is one of those outstanding women. And a little presentation needs to go with that. So in order to be respectful of people's times, I'd like to add that to this portion of the agenda. So Caroline, I think you're going to lead us in that process.
Well, thank you very much. So, as some of you may know, there is an award that has happened. Holly is going to talk about it for a second, about the Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky Award.
Yeah, so hi, everyone. I'm Holly Nyberg. I'm the director of the Women's Ministry Program at the Northern Kentucky Chamber. I do professional development for women to connect, grow, and achieve with each other in business. And one of those programs is the Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky. So we'll be celebrating the 40th anniversary of this award. These awards have had a history of honoring women who exemplified notable achievements, outstanding service in their professions to the Northern Kentucky community, and qualities of a personal integrity, perseverance, and leadership. These women who live, work, or volunteer in Northern Kentucky represent a great diversity and extraordinary accomplishments of today's women. All honorees represent ideal role models for the young women who follow in their footsteps. The Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky Awards were established in 1984 when the late Nancy James Booth, wife of past President Leon E. Booth, invited several faculty and staff members from Northern Kentucky University to a luncheon for discussion of ways to involve more women from the Northern Kentucky area and the university community. In the spring of that following year, the first Outstanding Women Luncheon was held with the Kentucky Post acting as a co-sponsor. Thomas More and Gateway Community Technical College later joined with education. After the newspaper closed in 2008, Toyota became the major sponsor, assumed responsibility for the event production and supported the scholarship program. The 2014 announcement of Toyota's headquarters moving to Texas, the program was again in need of a champion to carry the torch. And the Northern Chamber of Initiative adopted this program and continued it to mark their legacy. At the first award celebration, 5 women were honored, and since then, more than 200 women have been recognized for blazing trails, opening doors, or demonstrating leadership in their homes, their professions, and their communities.
Thank you. So obviously, I think we talked about this at the last board meeting, that Tara is one of our honorees for this year, and we do not need a news flash to confirm that she is an outstanding woman, because I think all of us know that. Throughout her career, she's used her talent and skills to help other people. And Katie Jo was her nominator, and I just want to read this quick thing that she really, I think, summarizes, why she is getting this award. Tara is a natural leader and a born mentor. She knows what to say and how to encourage others, especially women. Tara builds confidence, recognizes ability, and encourages leadership. Tara is a friend to many and an inspiration to all. She has a way of lifting people up with kind words and meaningful work. She can relate to people from all walks of life. Her empathy is endless, and her dedication to the improvement of others is incomparable. Tara works tirelessly in the pursuit of regional improvement. So I would like to recognize today Tara as our outstanding woman. She will have a more formal recognition of this at the luncheon on May 23rd, which you are welcome to. You go to the Chamber's website, you can sign up for that, but we would just like to say congratulations.
All right. Well, you don't have to follow that up with an ethics report. This is not the first time you've had an issue.
You know, I'm just so good at my job that we still, you know, everybody's obeying the rules.
Okay, I appreciate that appropriate follow-up. Financial reports, like.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll present the monthly financial reports. These reports will be as of February 29. In an ideal world, we should be about 66% in our budget. So through February 29, we have seen a 14% increase in revenue and 12% increase in expenses. We have had over $24 million in revenue, which is actually exceeding our revenue at 95%. Of that revenue, 50% is state funding, 18% is federal funding, and the other local accessory less than 1%. Our cash balance as of February 29 is at $5.4 million. That's actually double last year's amount at this time. And part of that is we did get $1 million in the opioid abatement funds that hasn't been dispersed out. So that's still saving in our cash balance. Our accounts receivable balance is actually down to $1.6 million. So, you know, we're receiving funds quicker than we did at this point last year. That's a good thing. Our accounts payable balance is down to $299,000. That is about 22% increase. So overall, we have access of $3.6 million in funding. Most of that is from the period. So my financial spotlight this month is going to be the Safe Streets for All. I know we had a presentation last month about this, but I kind of just wanted to show you the financial impact of the program. So Safe Streets for All, who don't know this, is allows a partnership between KYPC and KY LTAP planning, which will improve the transportation needs for the region by providing the path forward. The total amount of funding for this is $229,000. 183 of that is federal, and then 20% match. So our plan is to document crash shield and hazards on critical roadways, identify applicable low-cost safety treatments, and then prioritize improvements based on, you know, crash history, severity, and risk. So you can see there the action plan that we had. We're planning to be finished by next June. I just kind of want to show you the impact of this plan and what the plan has. Then the last portion here is we consolidated now, as I said, we have $24 million in revenue, up 15%, just shy of $21 million in expenses, leaving us with an excess of $50 million. Anybody have any questions on the financial reports?
That's right, he's the donor student.
With that, entertain a motion to approve financial. Second, thank you, Judge Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
I think we should start find plans for us. Thank you.
Moving into the programmatic section, aging and disability services, we're going to hear about ombudsman elder abuse training. That's
As given elder abuse, services. So the long-term care ombudsman is located here in Northern Kentucky at the AD. And our process is that we protect the rights of the residents in nursing homes, personal care homes, and assisted living facilities. I am the district long-term care ombudsman in Northern Kentucky, and we have Couple Leader, who's another certified long-term care ombudsman. We also have several volunteer certified ombudsmen and friendly visitors throughout our 8 counties. We also have a advisory council board that comes back to us and meets with us and tells us whatever services that they feel that needs to be addressed in our community. We also provide family visits. We provide information and assistance to the community, and we educate facilities and providers and technology support to develop family councils and resident council meetings. Here's an overview of our assisted living, personal care homes, and long-term care facilities. Altogether, we have 42, and that is 3,595 total beds that we serve as of right now. I would say. As you see, elder abuse is a big problem. No one really knows what the true numbers are. Relatively few cases are identified, as elders often are reluctant to report mistreatment. Experts estimate that only 1 in 10 Americans 60 or over have experienced some form of abuse. You can see where it's not very well reported. Elder abuse is a big problem, and it is a crime. It can occur anywhere. It can occur to anyone at any time. It affects seniors across all socioeconomic groups, cultures, and races, and women and older elders are more likely to be victimized. This is the statute for the state of Kentucky. And you can look, elder abuse is any knowing, intentional, or negligent act by any caregiver or any other person that causes harm or any serious risk of harm to a vulnerable adult. This includes physical, sexual, emotional, negligent, self-negligent, and exploitation. Here's the examples of physical abuse. It could be slapping, unexplained bruises, broken bones, sprains. It can be broken glasses or frames. Signs of being distressed, such as rope marks you might find around people in their wrist. Caregivers may be refusing to allow to have the elderly be seen in private because they don't want them to be, to say anything. These are the indicators of sexual abuse. It's usually bruising around the breast or genitals or any unknown explanation of bleeding. Getting back to mental injury could be emotional abuse. That's verbal and nonverbal. Belittling them or controlling them. That is the form of being mentally abusive to them. Neglect is where you could see is a situation where an adult is unable to perform or obtain for himself the welfare of good health. And that is listed out a lot. Examples of neglect could be unusual weight loss, malnutrition, untreatment of physical problems such as bed sores. It can be the lack of toileting or changing of a breed. Maybe the call lights are not being answered on a timely manner and residents are yelling out for help or to be changed. You might see unsuitable clothing or covering for the weather. If a resident may have to, or a person may have to go out to the doctors, they may not have the inner coat. They may not realize, or they might be wearing a winter coat all summer long. You see that too. So that could be a form of neglect. Self-neglect is when they don't want to, they don't take care of themselves. They may look and appear dirty. They may be unsuitable, not taking their medication, or maybe overdosing on their medication. That can be a form of self-neglect, not providing themselves with adequate food or hygiene. Dehydration, foul odor. A lot of it could be hoarding also in the home. You might see hoarding. Exploitation is one of the biggest ones that we see, and that is hardly ever reported. Financial, it could be where several changes in somebody's financial, their bank records or their withdrawals of a huge amount of money, items of either cash missing, unpaid bills, unnecessary goods and services given to them. It might be where a caregiver is charging their own personal items on that resident or that person's debit card, or just taking money out of the house, missing jewelry, missing property. Exploitation. The effects of abuse and neglect is low self-esteem. They blame themselves. They get angry or fearful. Symptoms of increased stress, anxiety, or sleep disturbance. They might get headaches, restlessness, despair, depression. Some would consider like suicide might be an option. Reporting abuse. Kentucky is a mandated reporting state, and any person having reasonable cause to suspect that an adult has suffered abuse, neglect, or exploitation shall report or cause reports to be made in accordance with provision to the KRS 209. And this is, you can report to the Department for Community-Based Services, and these are the two options you call it in. And then, you have the right to you don't have to prove the allegations. You just have to really give the name or the reasonable, what you suspect. And then here's where you can report. You can call it in, or you can send a report on the website. That's who you report to. Why should you report? Because failure to report is a Class B misdemeanor, punishable up to 90 days in jail or fined up to $250. Organizational policies that require you to report only to your supervisors will not protect you from prosecution for failure to comply with Kentucky law. So once you report it to
like your supervisor, and they need to take it on further up. Person to file a report under reasonable cause are protected under Kentucky law. And then what happens after you report? DCBS will notify law enforcement, and they will also notify other appropriate agencies to get involved with the services. If it's in a nursing home, they will contact the Office of Inspector General as well as the long-term care ombudsman office to report abuse. If it's a rape allegations, and that will go on to domestic violence as well as police and so forth. And there will be an investigation as well.
Thank you.
I had one more thing, I'm sorry. We, in the back is our cards on Elder Maltreatment Alliance, and it is a nonprofit group that is not part of the ad. But we work to help educate and provide awareness to the community with the Emma. And it also has on the back how to report if you want. So there are some.
There's cards in the back. So, our division staffs and convenes the Elder Maltreatment Alliance. And there are cards back here on how to report elder abuse if you all are interested in that. Just pick one up on your way. Now, I want to thank Bethany for, this is a mandatory presentation, but I want to thank Bethany for presenting today. Our ombudsman team is very busy, as you can imagine, with covering that many facilities and that many beds in our 8 counties. Finding the time to do this can be a challenge, but Bethany is always willing to step up to that challenge. Bethany spends a lot of her time in the rural communities. She's mostly in the 5 counties, where Paula spends most of her time in Boone County. On the road always, right, Bethany?
It's not unusual for me to go to Falmouth and he doesn't go. So.
Thank you, Willie. It's one of the services you didn't wish we needed, but glad the ad does it. So this was a requirement of Department of Aging and Independent Living for the board to have this training for this awareness. So thank you both for the service and the training. And now we will get into Tricia Courtney for an update on our local government services.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Hand out my full board report for you guys. Go through it word by word.
Motion to let you not do that.
I do want to highlight just one thing that does affect the board, the area development funds, grant opportunity for fire and EMS stations, district departments. I do know that we do have new board members and some members that may not have been here when the board approved that. So I just want to go over the history of that. So JFA funds, also known as Joint Funding Administration funds that we get from the state, if there are leftover funds, that gets converted into area development funds, ADF, and then we grant that out to the community. So it's one of the kind of time explain this process. So we had $7,531 left over from the previous fiscal year. So board, at the direction of the board, we formed an ADF committee to work with the ad staff to distribute or to come up with like a process of how to distribute that money out to the community. The committee has met twice and had not all back and forth with the staff, and we have created an application, scoring criteria, and now a timeline that will require for me to send the notification out to members of the community that would be interested in applying. That's great. May 31st is the deadline for the applications to be sent back to us. The committee will meet to go through the applications, and then we will bring the recommended applicant to this board for final approval, and that will go to DFG. I our fearless chairman, Mayor Paul Meyer, Bill Mitchell, and us Spurgeon. And the staff was myself and party my extension. And then the last thing I want to mention is the broadband project. We have to schedule final meetings with some of the communities to finalize the broadband challenge requests. Now we're doing that. Any questions for me?
With funding that comes out of DLG, how do we handle that these days with getting the word out to our communities when cycles begin? For example, CDBG, but there's also a myriad of other ones. There's rec trails, land and water conservation fund, and then all the little ones out there on the state level. Do they still send something to the ad district saying that they're announcing an official round of this? Or do we hear from Frankfurt saying that, you know, these applications are just now open, or?
The challenge project, sometimes you don't hear until, you know, there's something to do. So I challenge my team to meet with community members that come up with a project. And then when you know the grants are going to be opened up in the early part.
We know of deadlines though, we need those in our newsletter, so when we send the newsletter out to all elected officials, on our elected officials list. And so that would be a way for every community to, we've got a very informative newsletter with the whole section of bless you. So, that is a way that we can also get the word out about that as individual with a newsletter. That's,
Frankfurt is letting us know when rounds start.
they just have it on the website.
So it's our job to go out there and find, okay, and then it goes to the newsletters, and then all the mayors and councils and fiscal courts, they all get the newsletter, and they see.
Yeah, the newsletter does not just go to the board. It goes to all of our opportunities. Good question, Bill. Anyone else have questions for Chris? All right. Thanks, sir.
Did you want to bring up about the municipal government league?
Oh, yes, the next meeting, the municipal government league of Western Kentucky is here Tuesday, April 30th. And the main topic will be medical cannabis and its effect on the government purposes.
Reminder and an important topic that we're all going to deal with one way or the other. Next up, Amanda Peters is going to give us an update on the possible onset.
Hello, everyone. We'll take you some resources we have for no cost naloxone, cities, counties, and different departments within your municipality. And so there is a flyer. There's a lot of words, and it's very confusing. So I wasn't talking about it today. And so with, we are partnering with the Kentucky Pharmacy Association and with the Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy through some grants. So the state office has their core program, which is Kentucky Opioid Response Efforts. So with that, they're able to provide some funding through grants for naloxone all across our communities. So if you are in any of the counties that include Carroll, Gallatin, Grant, and Pendleton, there is naloxone at no cost for every agency as well as EMS. And so, and your community members. So there's a rural grant and there's a link that you can order through there. It's a very easy order form and you just put in how many you need. So your EMS, your fire, police agencies, emergency management, any of your departments, there is no cost naloxone. So if you're a little bit in one of the counties of Boone, Campbell, Kenton, and Owen, which doesn't quite geographically line up, I don't know, that's how the state did it, you're not eligible for EMS, but all the other options are available to you. I do know that not all of our police departments carry Narcan, if they rely on their EMS agencies to do that, but we do have police officers that carry it in case they are exposed. So you can get it through this link, or you can just call our office. And then anyone who may be confused can just call us and we can walk you through where to order it from, which bucket, what does that look like. My staff does virtual and in-person training all the time. And so what you're looking at is to get one of these boxes. There's 2 units in here. They're 4 milligrams, what we're seeing here. And then this is 1 unit. I don't know, most folks have probably seen it, but this is it. This is what you're looking at. I carry my purse. I have one in my car. And really our statement is everyone's a first responder. And it's just kind of like Flonase. The real trainers hate when I say that, but really it's just kind of like Flonase. It's really easy to use. I've not had to use it on anyone, but my staff has. It's really easy to use again. And then if you do it, you wait 2 minutes and you do another one to bring someone back. All it does is enable someone to breathe. It's just an antagonist for the opioid drug once it gets in there. An opioid overdose is a respiratory failure. So again, it's stopping that breathing. All this does is get your breathing back. And then when we call EMS, we want to wait for somebody to get there. And there's lots of strategies in our community to connect those who do overdose to treatment and different services. So this is just one part of what we call an intercept point, a part of many morning plans and harm reduction to keep folks alive. And I know people get kind of scared about this, but this is it. It's nice to have. And then again, any of the agencies that want to do this. So we've been able to go into Boone County Fiscal Court and train some of their employees. We just did Campbell County virtually, and we've been able to record that. So if new staff can come in, we can do it in any way possible. People can call anonymously. We can get them connected to the health department's mail order program. You don't even have to talk to anyone. You just go to a QR code on their website, order it, and they will mail it straight to you with a booklet. So there's lots of different options. We have trained people through FaceTime, called the helpline. Takes 5 to 10 minutes. If anybody's interested, we can do that today. I have staff here. We have plenty of this on hand. But again, any of those agencies that you may need a emergency management, we've done parks departments before, as we know, folks may come in contact. And then again, your law enforcement. So you can, some of these, all the law enforcement can get it to deploy on community members, or you can just have it in case officers get exposed. And we also know officers carry it too to revive their dogs that may come in contact. So it will work on pets. It does not hurt if you give it to someone who would not need it. They've been carrying naloxone on EMS, vehicles for years. And really, one of the first things was because we have our older adults take too much pain medication. So that was the original. So it's always been practiced that you give somebody naloxone, might be a diabetic shock, might be something else going on. It can't hurt you. So even if you think someone's in an overdose, go to use it. It wasn't the case. Nothing's going to happen. My kids know what it is. They pick it up. There's no danger for anyone to have any kind of adverse effect. So again, lots of information. This is in our last or in the April newsletter, but then a lot of information, different buckets to order from. If you have questions, Sarah Folks in our office is kind of our pinpoint, our point person for this. She can walk you through the different websites, and even if you call her, she'll order it for you. Just help. Any questions? I covered everything.
Great job.
Thank you.
All right. Terry, the company for us.
Good afternoon, again, nice to see you all. I wanted to first thank you all for all of the feedback and all the conversations. I think it's been about 6 months now, maybe, since we first embarked on our strategic planning efforts. We've had online surveys, we've had focus groups, we've had a few one-on-ones that people maybe couldn't come to one of those. We've had board conversations as a whole. We've had some one-on-one calls just to make sure everybody was good. I am very excited about having a strategic plan because I like to be able to measure if we are doing what you all want us to do, and then I get to figure out, right, how exactly does that all happen. I think it's very exciting for this organization to have a benchmark of what it is that we want to accomplish. And so, again, we do have a few new board members, so just for their information, I'll just kind of walk through it a little bit. We did already have an organizational mission I got a lot of feedback actually after the last board meeting that everyone likes that as a description of our organization, but it's really too long to be the mission because you want the staff and the board members to be able to quote what the mission is in a very easy way. And I don't know about you all, but I don't remember things quite as well as I used to. And I know if I can't remember the entire thing, then that's probably not the best sign that everyone else is going to be able to remember it. So what you'll see in your packet printed is a slight change from what went out in an email. And so I'll just kind of walk you through that. So the vision remains the same, that the Northern Kentucky Area Development District will be a transformative and collaborative resource for cities, counties, special districts, and partner organizations to meet regional goals for economic vibrancy for all communities and independent, sustainable lives for all residents. I love that, right? That's very aspirational. That's the vision. We've updated the mission. I'll be curious to see what you think. Hopefully we don't have to go back to the drawing board. The mission, 3 words: collaborate, empower, convene. That's it. Because if you think about it, that really is every single thing that we do fits into one of those buckets. We're empowering our local older adults to be able to live independently. We're empowering job seekers to go find a job. We're collaborating with employers to help them solve their problems. We're collaborating with local governments to help them figure out what they need in terms of grant applications or maybe calculating tax rates. And we're certainly convening on everything from water and sewer planning to housing and pretty much everything in between. So if you're good with it, then that's going to be the mission. We'll keep all of the previous language, and that will be what we'll use as a longer organizational description. The Northern Kentucky Area Development District, collaboration of local leaders and staff, supporting and empowering communities by convening stakeholders and implementing quality services. And then it says the ad leverages specific areas of expertise and it has all of our different things that we do. Facility services, community development planning, drug control policy, financial compliance management, food insecurity support, local government services, workforce development, serving the Northern Kentucky communities of Boone, Campbell, Carroll, Gallatin, Grant, Kenton, Owen, and Pendleton counties. That would be a description that would be on a longer page, maybe at the end of the press release, for example, something like that. And then getting to kind of the essence of why we went through all of this assessment and where we're getting into the actual strategic plan. We have created this for them last time, a strategic 3-year goal to leverage NKADD's varied funding sources and broad expertise to enhance communication, collaboration, and customer service across all program areas, resulting in meaningful connections, strategic decision-making, and positive impact. Right, that's why we do what we do. Okay, so then everything, I wasn't gonna plan on reading this because everybody's having us for a while, but I was going to draw your attention. Thank you for those, if you don't know, you sent me to a conference earlier this week. It's called the SURI Conference, the Southeastern Regional Directors Institute. And we spent a fair amount of time one day talking about staff retention and how important that is. And I know that already firsthand, but it did give me some ideas about, really how to dive in and think about staff retention in a very intentional way. So I did add under internal staff operations for all 3 years of the plan to continue to develop a welcoming atmosphere to enhance employee retention. Because I do think that needs to be top of mind for us all the time and to be measuring success in that space. Other than that, this is exactly what was presented last month. And so if anyone has any questions or comments, we can start to welcome those, and otherwise oh, yes, please.
I just have one question. I know the KRS rule, is that still on our website just to say why we were created and it's by this rule? Does it show that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Tara?
She won't tell you, but at 30, she did present twice
presentation. So again, not just us realizing just how awesome she is, but also those who really do.
The whole southeast region.
I know you'll be shocked, I was talking about how. And then Nancy Grayson and I presented about positive relationships between local council and government, which that's what other states call LPR, and local philanthropic community. Right, that's- Any other thoughts on the previous slide?
Great.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Great.
Would entertain a motion to adopt the strategic plan.
Motion.
By Bill, do we have a
Second.
Second, Larry. Last chance for questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have one. Thank you.
No, thank you. First of all, thank you for voting for this. My plan is, and this goes straight into the rest of my presentation. I have, it's on our website. The deadline is next Friday. We don't have a ton of extra money, but as you saw, we do have some additional revenues. And we have some space in our shared budget. And so I have asked for bids from graphic designers to consider looking at our brands, specifically our logo, but color scheme, font choice. I'd love to get some templates, you know, as we're talking about communication, this is the perfect time to visit some of those things. I actually see this actually as an employee retention strategy as well. I think it's really great to increase the professionalism and the compelling nature of our graphic illustration of who we are. I think the staff would really appreciate having more tools in their toolbox as far as graphically showing what we do. So it's just a bid request. It's not an RFP because I definitely am not spending enough money on branding that would make it have to be an RFP. That I just can't spend. I can't justify spending that much money, and it would be, you know, a $30,000. It would be an RFP. So no, we're not doing that. But I did ask for bids. And so I've gotten a lot of feedback that different designers that have seen it, or, you know, we did forward it out to everybody that I could think of. But please, if you know someone, feel free to forward it. I don't have somebody in mind. I'm just really curious to see what people are charging and what they might be able to do. So feel free to forward that. It is linked to our website. The deadline is Friday. And what I would like to do with this is really have this plan. We're already working on it, as you know, but really kind of be available and publicly launched on July 1, kind of like New Year. And I think I might be able to get a logo by then. So that then we would actually have it designed and looking nice and out there for the public, you know, just to be able, not that we're going to market ourselves necessarily as an agency, but I think it would be really nice to have a thing that would people have. So just in case you're curious, it won't be necessarily posted on the website like tomorrow, even though you've approved it, because we're going to try to design it and make it look nice. And then you can have a copy that you can look at. So that's the only other update that I think that, yes, that I have two actually. One is a legislative update. The Kentucky General Assembly has adjourned and they did fund several of the things that we were hoping that they would. So they did fully fund what Chris talked about a moment ago, the Joint Funding Administration, which gives us funds to provide you with technical support on public administration side. So all those tax rates and all those grant applications, that's what allows that to happen. So we are very grateful that the General Assembly funded that fully again for the next 2 years. Ombudsman actually not only was fully funded, but actually got some additional funds that they had been needing, which is great. And that's, you know, a statewide effort as well. Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, they contract with us to do water and wastewater planning. It's the same amount of money that we got last time. It's actually the same amount of money since 2013. So it was not a decrease, but we were hoping for an increase, and we'll just keep on working through that. But anyway, and then I just wanted to draw something to your attention, and I have a meeting with the group that was pushing this actually in a couple of weeks to try to understand a little bit more. But one thing that happened in the General Assembly is they created the Kentucky Ohio River Regional Recreation Authority, mouthful. They call it KORA, which is funny, but it's KORRA.
And Cora, the legislation actually calls out the creation of this authority. It's for all counties that border the Ohio River in Kentucky, stretching from Ashland, all the way down. It calls out membership from some of our counties. So many of you, not all, but many of our counties will be members of this organization. And it specifically calls on area development districts to help this organization. I'm kind of looking at Judge Morris, because I don't know if he knows more about it. If you want to make any comment, I don't know anything about it other than just I saw the legislation, but I am meeting with the Ohio River Falls, like I said, in about 2 weeks to kind of learn more.
Yes, I know that our Boone Conservancy and some of our nonprofits are engaged and very excited about it. And I anticipate that Boone County, of course, will adopt the necessary take the actions to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But more river access and allowing our residents to enjoy the river and view the river, I think it's a home run.
So that a little bit of tourism, also conservation, but it's a way to basically get more infrastructure to support those kind of activities. So it should be a good thing. That's really all I personally have from the General Assembly. I was mostly focused, like I did in my couple months ago report on that our programs would be fully funded. We did see a decline in home delivered meal funding, the ESMP. Very interesting. So we had asked for a maintenance of what was in the last biennium. So that would have been $14 million statewide. And the Department of Aging and Living, Dale, which is part of the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, they felt that they only wanted 10 million. So that's what they recommended to the governor. And that's what the governor recommended. And it just stayed at 10 million all the way through the process. Senate. And so they feel that, that's going to be enough. They're going to make some changes. There were other areas that were serving like 2 meals a day. And so they kind of feel like if some of these things get sort of oriented so that everybody's the same, that they think that 10 million will be sufficient. I'll be honest, we're a little concerned about it. And we talked to the commissioner and they kind of maintain that they feel confident that 10 million is sufficient. So, but we'll be watching that very closely from the funding standpoint. Again, that was the recommendation that they made to the governor. That's what he put in his budget, and that's what went forward. So I'm not really completely sure what other regions are doing. We've had some conversations with the other area development districts, and I think we just have to wait and see and monitor the situation. I just wanted you all to know that is lower, but we actually met with them yesterday, and they said they'll be allocating based on demand, and we said we have a really high demand. So we are hopeful that we'll get our goals up. That is my report on other things, but I did want to let you know that we are starting, you've seen Chris's update. And it looks like you did get a packet, but we will make sure that I'll email it all to you. Anne and her team created for you a report so that, and we'll do this quarterly. And what I'd like to do is, so we have one from Aging and Disability Services quarterly, one from Local Government Services quarterly, and one from Workforce quarterly. And Amanda, if you want to get it on the game, you just let me know and we'll figure it out.
Yep.
But so that every month you end up with a little bit more of an in-depth look at programming. So we'll email that out so that everybody has that. But it will be a way, if we've heard and I've heard, want to have more communication, but sometimes you only hear about what we need you to vote on, and we really want you to get more in depth on all the services that are being provided. And so I just want to say thank you to Anne and her team for putting that together. It's similar to what goes to the Council on Aging had, so it'll look familiar to you, but a little bit more, a little bit different formatting. And so that way that if you have questions, you can reach out to certainly to Anne or to me. If you just want to find out more about those services. But I'm hoping that as we get into this rhythm, we're still trying to get the format all right, but as we get into that rhythm, that you all will kind of get accustomed to getting a deep dive on each division once a month. So just wanted you to know, I had intended for that to be printed and on a so, but we will get that out to you via email be at the following meeting. Unless you have any questions for me, we can move to new business. New business, we accidentally dropped new business from the agenda a few months ago. So for several months, we didn't have an opportunity for there to be new business on the agenda. So that was, I noticed that, and so it's back. So I foresee that when we provide the impact report in the future, that new business section might be a really great time to have discussion about what it is.
Keep on going.
Okay, please note that this body, the Northern Kentucky Area Development District Board of Directors meeting will be held at 9 a.m. next month, May 23rd. There will not be pizza. That would be weird. It's just gonna be us, 9 a.m. here in this room and on the screen if you need to do that. I appreciate the rescheduling so that me and my family and some of you can attend that Outstanding Women of Northern Kentucky luncheon, which will begin at 11. So thank you very much for making that possible. I really, really appreciate it.
Very good. Anything else? Any new business you want to talk about? Well, it's been on the agenda. But hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjourn.
Seven.